Aggie Eco-Reps. My name is Jaedyn. If you don't know me, I'm the campus events VP for the 2020-2021 academic year. To go along with our theme this month of social sustainability, I'm going to be touching on mental health and personal sustainability and how all that is part of social sustainability. Now, we've discussed, or should have discussed before, how social sustainability touches on topics like fair trade, human rights, social justice, fair compensation and wages, but something that isn't as discussed or associated with the topic is mental and sexual health education and awareness. I think this is so important because if you don't have a community that, physically, mentally, and emotionally supports its community members, it's not going to function and they're not going to be able to take care of themselves. You can't have a resilient community if your members are in trouble. To talk about mental health resources throughout this presentation, but before I do that, I'd like to talk about mental health in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, that thing that we're going through. So I'd like to point out that there is no structure in society that was ever designed to transition us from being really close and cultural to being people that are physically distant and conduct everything virtually. I know we're in a modern age, but we're not used to being together. It's okay if you're not doing your best right now. It is okay to not be okay. It is okay to not feel like you're being the most efficient person, because right now everything is changing and developing, and you never know what's going to come the next day. So I would recommend that you not measure your self-worth based upon how efficient you feel or how you compare yourself to the stereotype of society's definition of efficiency, because you're amazing and there are still so many opportunities to be with people. You can reach out to your friends and family, you can shoot your friend a text, you can call your mom, your grandma, your parents, your guardians, you can send a letter to some old relative that you don't really know, but they might like to hear that from you. You can reach out to a professor, send them an email about the research that they're working on. It also gets doing good with resumes and stuff like that. You can totally reach out to people who work in the fields that you want to go into and just make connections with them, even in the socially distant setting. So I'd like to talk a little bit about things you can do to help cope with if you're feeling a little bit depressed, or you haven't been doing your best during this quarantine time or being physically distant. I would like first to encourage you to reach out to people as much as you possibly can. I know we're all really busy, but just making the time during the day to reach out to somebody. FaceTime specifically is recommended because studies have shown that if you're talking to somebody and you're actually seeing their facial expressions in response to what you're saying, it just helps as a person. I know we all like to keep our videos off for Zoom for classes because nobody wants a video on. But if you have the opportunity, especially in a student org meeting, I totally recommend it. It just makes you feel better completely. Try to attend socially distant programs on campus. There's a lot of different opportunities out there. I'd also like to recommend incorporating a little bit more exercise into your day, because there are times when I am in my room and I don't feel like going anywhere, and I order food and I look up and 3 days later it's like Monday already and I haven't done anything or moved at all, and I feel awful. I also want to recommend to increase your water intake, or at least maintain it if you have a good water intake, because if you're dehydrated and you're stressed out, your immune system gets way lowered, which is why college students get sick so easily. So I recommend keeping that immune system boosted so that you're less likely to get the virus. In honor of National Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month, I'm going to be talking about on and off-campus resources that are available to you to use all throughout the year, but specifically if you're having a rough time right now, I totally recommend checking out. So our first and most well-known resource is Counseling and Psychological Services, commonly known in Res Life as CAPS. They are specifically devoted to maintaining your mental and emotional health. They have so many resources and services that they provide you. They provide counseling, crisis intervention, all different kinds of trainings, diversity, outreach, inclusion. They offer a lot. They offer both individual counseling but also group counseling. I'm not sure how that works in a Zoom format, but it's been found to be helpful for people, especially people with issues like anxiety, to talk about their feelings and settings in a group, because it allows them to bounce perspectives off other people and see how people really see them. And also, the amount of people that need counseling is far greater than the amount of counselors that are available, but I think that's just a people issue. There's also health promotion, which is a completely separate office of student life, but they have similar goals. They focus on physical and mental health. Health promotion offers less counseling but more coaching, and also giving consultations like about your personal health and how you're doing. So if you're not really into counseling but you want just like a one-time checkup, or you want like a goal plan for the rest of your year physically or mentally, you can utilize them for that. They also have lots of different trainings and workshops and education. They are better known for their education and outreach. So that's another resource. So an off-campus resource that students and staff can utilize is called the Sexual Assault Resource Center for the Bryan College Station area. It's commonly known as SARC. And what they do is they want to promote the end of the cycle of sexual assault and violence and rape that occurs in the Brazos Valley area. And they have a 24-hour hotline that anybody can call about and ask questions about whenever they feel like it. They offer free counseling, they offer free crisis intervention. Normally, whenever COVID is not around, they will go with survivors of sexual assault to go to the hospital with them. They offer a lot of stuff. They also do a lot of education and outreach. So that is an option available to students. And building off the topic of a helpline, there is an organization on campus or a resource called Helpline that is not a 24-hour helpline, but it is available 4 p.m. to 8 a.m. on weekdays, and then 24-hour on weekends. And it's a telephone line specifically to talk about like if you're in a crisis or you're just having a lot of feelings. They focus on peer support and outreach, giving referrals and resources, and they're just there for students to be able to have somebody to talk to when normal counseling centers aren't open. And then my final resource I'm going to talk about is the 12th CAN, which is a nonprofit student organization on campus. This kind of relates to COVID, and that a lot of people are struggling with like payments and stuff, and they don't know how they're going to be able to afford food sometimes. So the 12th CAN is specifically devoted to ending hunger on campus and just raising awareness about food insecurity. So there are 2 days, I think, out of the week, or a couple of weeks they have every month where you can go get food from them. They're a little bit different from the Brazos Valley Food Bank, in that the Brazos Valley Food Bank isn't located on campus, but they are at the intersection of university and economy. So if you're having a little bit trouble with food, I recommend going there when you can. Howdy! I'm going to talk about some announcements for this week and upcoming for the month. First and foremost, if you are a newly elected Eco-Rep, like for your community councils, we ask that you look at the Google form talking about the amendments to the Constitution, because only elected Eco-Reps are allowed to vote on it, and we would really like these amendments to be passed for the Constitution. And this upcoming week we're going to have another profit share at Antonio's Pizza. It's off of University Drive, but it's farther down the street from where Bon Appetit was. Friday, September the 25th. It will be all day, so you can go whenever you feel obligated to eat. And finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about ASHE, which stands for the Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education. They have a big conference every year that we usually have a couple of Eco-Reps that go to. This year it's going to be held virtually just because of the pandemic, but we're still going to have an application process for you all to be able to go, because you have to pay to go. So look forward to hearing about that in upcoming weeks. And I'm Jaedyn. Thank you for listening.